You will be able to buy a brand new 2024 Toyota 4Runner, spend $50,000 for this particular example, and then 2 years from now, assuming you didn't put a crud ton of miles on it, you're going to be able to sell it for $50,000 or right about that, right? You're going to be very close to what you spent for it. All that to say, you're not going to lose a whole lot on it. So why not? Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So as the brand new 2025 Toyota 4Runner is being unveiled down in California today, I'm going to be providing you with a little bit of a different opinion. So obviously I'm not there, can't provide you with that content. However, I do know a whole lot about that 4Runner, and I know a whole lot about this 5th generation 4Runner behind me. And I can honestly tell you, if you were to buy this 2024 while you still can, you will absolutely not regret it. So in today's video, I'm going to highlight the 5 reasons why I truly believe the 2024, the last of the 5th generation 4Runner, is the 4Runner to buy. So stick with me. So let me get out of the way right at the beginning. I'm purposely parking this 2024 Toyota 4Runner TRD Off Road next to this 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off Road, because we know that 2025 new 6th generation 4Runner is essentially going to be this. It's essentially going to be that Tacoma, but obviously in an SUV form. It's going to share the same exact 4-cylinder turbocharged platform, or the iForce Max, the turbocharged hybridized platform, or the 8-speed automatic transmission, right? So we know it's going to share a lot of the same underpinnings as what we find here. So I'm purposely putting it next to it just so I can draw some comparisons throughout this video. First and foremost, the powertrain, right? The powertrain in the 2024 5th generation 4Runner is unmatched when it comes to reliability. Sure, it's old, sure, it's archaic, I get it. It's a little thirsty, 17 miles per gallon on average combined, but the peace of mind that you have driving this 4-liter V6 tied to that bulletproof 5-speed automatic transmission is second to none. We just don't find that anymore in new vehicles. New vehicles are pretty much built to be throwaway vehicles nowadays. They build them to where you can drive them for 3 to 5 years and then throw them away. This one right here, you could drive it for a decade plus with just doing minimal maintenance, and it will run exceptionally well. It'll always start up for you, and it gives you that unmatched peace of mind. Let's look at them. So 4-liter V6, this is pretty archaic, I get it, but look how simplistic it is. You know, it's a large engine, a large V6 of course, not a whole lot of wires, not a whole lot of additional tech added onto it. Now let's go look at the Tacoma here. The Tacoma looks like a rat's nest when it comes to all the wires sticking out of it, right? Because you just have a tiny 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, and that's why we do find them just sitting on the lots right now. They're brand new. This is really the first time that Toyota's offered a brand new truck or SUV, and then they just sat immediately, especially the Tacoma. You know, historically the best-selling mid-sized pickup truck there is, and yet they're brand new to the lots and they're not selling. That's saying something. Let me real quickly remind you of what the window sticker looks like on this 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off Road. For starters, this isn't even the iForce Max, and you're still looking at 50 grand for this new 2024 Toyota Tacoma. And you're getting an iForce 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine and an 8-speed automatic transmission. You know, Toyota's under a lot of pressure. I mean, all vehicle manufacturers are, to lessen their carbon footprint, to lessen, you know, to have a better impact when it comes to emission standards. And this right here is a driving factor. Getting a higher miles per gallon, better fuel economy is the driving reason. But still, 50 grand, and it's not even the top trim TRD Pro or Trail Hunter. That's kind of wild to me. Let me remind you real quickly what the 4Runner is sporting over here with the 4-liter V6. So 17 miles to the gallon combined over here. But granted, we have a 5-speed automatic transmission that's a bulletproof one. However, you know, they're longer gears, and that kind of adds to the lesser fuel efficiency here. But about the same price, $50,400, but at least you have that exceptional peace of mind in this one. I mean, perhaps I have a bias. I understand I do to some degree. I've owned several 5th generation Toyota 4Runners, most of which TRD Pros at this point. I do love the look of it. I think it has aged extremely well. And this is extremely long in the tooth at this point. And for it to have aged so well is a testament really to Toyota. So I assure you that new 6th generation 4Runner is going to look exceptional. It's going to look incredible. It's likely going to look like this when it comes to the front end. Maybe some slight differences, of course. But overall, it's going to share much of the body lines, I would argue, with this new Tacoma. At least that is what a lot of people are suggesting at this point. So the second reason, and perhaps an even larger reason than that first one, would be the price tag, right? So this 2024 Toyota 4Runner TRD Off Road cost $50,000, just over it, right, as I just showed you. And I guarantee it, that next generation 4Runner, the 6th generation 4Runner TRD Off Road, is going to cost at least $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more than this one, same trim. The TRD Pro 4Runner right here costs about $56,000 some change right now in 2024. I would wager that we would be looking at $63,000 to $65,000 for that new 6th generation 2025 4Runner. That's just a guess, not for sure, nothing confirmed from Toyota when it comes to the pricing at this point, but that's what I would argue. We saw it here with the Tacoma. The Tacoma in particular saw a huge price jump. The scary part is now they're entirely built out of Mexico, right? We know that. I mean, they've always kind of been half built in Mexico, half built in Texas. That's always kind of been the case, but now they're entirely built out of Mexico with their new plant down there, and the price still went up. They're paying pennies on the dollar by comparison to what they paid for labor in the US, and they pay pennies on the dollar in Mexico compared to what they pay in Japan for labor. So I expect that new 4Runner is going to be much more expensive, and that reason alone is reason enough to get a 2024, because I guarantee it, when there are no longer any 2024s to buy, I bet people will be itching to get back into reliability here. They'll be itching to get back into simplicity that we find here in the old 4Runner. They're going to be wanting that back, and well, $50,000 is going to feel a lot better than $57,000, $58,000 for the same trim. And reason number 3 is simplicity is about to go out the window, ladies and gentlemen. I can confidently tell you that just based on the teaser shots that I've already seen of that new 6th generation 4Runner. When you look into the interior of that new 6th generation that you can see through the rear window of the teased image, you see a giant infotainment screen like we find in the current Sequoia and the current Tundra, of course. This here truly is the last living example of Toyota's old days, if you will. Old days of just simplicity at its core. Nothing more than what you need, and that's it. Look at that. You don't have a giant protruding, probably a 14-inch infotainment screen that pops up like an iPad up top here, blocking a little bit more of your visibility. This right here, I love it. Simplicity at its core. All the controls are very intuitive, easy to navigate, and people are going to miss this. They're just going to miss how simple this entire interior is. This is going out the window here in a second as we add complexity to that new one here. And I'll real quickly add right here, the whole analog gauge system here. People are going to miss that, right? We have a nice high resolution center stack in your in your gauge display here, which is perfect, but nice analog gauges for your speedometer, your tachometer here. This looks good, and it's just simple. That's it. And I'll add this here underneath the simplicity umbrella. We know that that new 4Runner is going to look very much like the new Tacoma here, right? It's going to share likely some of the body lines, much of that front end, I bet, some of the body lines down the side, as we saw with the teased Trail Hunter shot from Toyota just today. But when you look at just, the angled of the front here, right? I mean, when you look at that windshield, that is pretty sharp, right? It's pretty well slanted. And although that looks cool, I think that adds to the appeal of the vehicle. What that does do is it hinders your visibility a little bit, right? I mean, the value of the 4Runner here is it's kind of reminiscent of what you find in the Land Cruiser when it comes to just exceptional visibility. I mean, people love being inside of a 4Runner because you're like in a fishbowl. The entire thing is just a commanding view of the road, which is exceptional for off-roading, of course. You always want to be able to see all around you, but that right there is a piece of the equation. I wonder if we're going to get that slanted, more, sporty look in that new 6th generation 4Runner. I might be wrong in this, but I bet it's going to look like this. And that does go a long way. We got these big windows here. I wonder if we're going to kind of shrink down a little bit. We already saw them shrink the back seat of the new Tacoma quite a bit from that last generation. If you look at them side by side, you'll quickly notice how small the back seat is by comparison. Let's look at it real quick, just to remind you. Look at that. Unless you're 3'6", I'm not sure if you're going to comfortably sit back here. You can call me old school all you want, and I am open-minded. I promise you, I'm open to change. I really am, okay? Easier said than done when it comes to the 4Runner though, because I feel like if it's not broke, why fix it? And here we are going to cram a smaller displacement, little tiny turbocharged 4-cylinder into this, complicating its longevity, really ultimately losing that great peace of mind. Will it be good? I'm sure it'll be good, but will it be exceptional? I don't know. That's hard to find when you complicate the motor like that, and adding a turbocharger, lessening that displacement, strapping a battery pack to it. People in the off-roading community don't want that. People who love Toyota, true Toyota enthusiasts, they don't want that. They want exceptional peace of mind. That's why people have always purchased Toyotas. They want it to be affordable and they want it to be reliable ultimately, right? And those two things have always stood the test of time, which has allowed Toyota to run this 5th generation 4Runner along in the tooth. They've been able to run this thing for, a decade plus, 12, 13, 14 years with very minimal tweaks and adjustments to it because it has always worked. And that's why people loved it. And honestly, I don't think I've ever met a true truck person who has ever gotten genuinely excited about a 4-cylinder in a pickup truck. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's genuinely excited about it, right? You got people who always kind of justify their purchase. You're gonna have people who bought this and they'll justify it till they're blue in the face. That's human nature though, okay? That's just human nature to do that. But truly, to be excited about a 4-cylinder in your pickup truck, nobody ever really wants that. But the performance numbers don't lie. I'll purposely talk out of both sides of my mouth. It does perform exceptionally well, but at the end of the day, it's hard to justify 50 grand for a 4-cylinder pickup truck. Sorry, Toyota. And for fun, you can hear the 4-cylinder buzz to life. Foot on brake. And just a reminder of what that new 4Runner will look like a little bit on the inside. It's going to be, of course, different, but overall, the design cues will be similar to some degree. Likely having that 14-inch optional. Obviously, this one here is the smaller version of that infotainment. But there you go, just as a little reminder of what the new versions will look like. And the one thing I'm kind of nervous about, and perhaps I shouldn't be, I know Toyota isn't going to move production of the 4Runner to Mexico immediately. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. They need to build out the infrastructure in order for it to make sense for them. They don't have it. They're already tapped out with the new Tacoma down there. But it does make sense. It makes sense for Toyota to move production of that new 4Runner, 6th generation 4Runner, to share the same assembly line as the Tacoma here, because they share the same powertrain. They share the same TNGAF global platform when it comes to the body on frame design. They're going to share that. They're going to share much of the interior. I'm sure of it, right? There's just so many similarities between the two that it just makes sense for them to do it. So I am afraid that that's ultimately going to happen in the next 2, 3, 5 years perhaps. And that would be a recipe for disaster and really would spoil the 4Runner nameplate in my opinion. The 4Runner is built entirely out of Japan right now, and that gives it a ton of style points. The Japanese take tremendous pride in building that SUV, and they always have. You can throw it to Mexico and you can argue, yes, they're going to build it just fine. They have the same production line. They have the same exact factory down there. But you get what you pay for at the end of the day. I'll leave it at that, right? So if we were to build that 4Runner out of China and pay even less for that production, would you feel okay with that? Even though it has a Toyota name on it, you'd feel okay with that? The answer is no. People will not feel okay with that. And the same goes for Mexico, for being honest with each other. So I hope Toyota does not make that shift, but the writing is on the wall when it comes to it. Not to mention, where do all 4Runners, well, the vast majority of 4Runners actually go when they sell them? The North American market. Where do the vast majority of Toyota Tacomas go when they sell them? The North American market. So putting them in Mexico makes total sense when it comes to just transport and delivery, right? That lessens their transport costs tremendously. If they just, ship them up over the border, that's very, very affordable for Toyota. So when it comes to money, the money game and just maximizing their profit and gains, it does make sense for them to move it to Mexico. But time will tell. And I don't really show the TRD Off Road too much on my channel. I generally stick with the TRD Pro when I personally buy them because I love the Fox TRD Tune suspension on it. I love the roof rack that you get on the TRD Pro. Just some small minor differences between the two that really stand out to me. But there is something to be said about the TRD Off Road. I like these wheels here. These are the same wheels that you do find on the TRD Pro. The TRD Off Road does have KDSS, Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System, which is a Toyota suspension system, same one that they put on the 200 series Land Cruiser before. It really is a phenomenal suspension overall. I would argue when it comes to off-roading, this is actually better than that TRD Tune Fox suspension. So when we jumped to the 2024 Toyota Tacoma here, we saw an increase in the MSRP across the board for the new generation Tacoma that we have today. However, if you look back at the Toyota Tundra, when we updated that from the 2021 Tundra to the 22, the current generation Tundra, we saw an even higher jump. And perhaps this is a testament to where the vehicles are built. We know that Toyota is paying pennies on the dollar when it comes to labor to produce their new Toyota Tacoma down in Mexico. We know that. They saved a lot of money by pulling those jobs away from Americans, away from Texas. However, with the Tundra, they are still entirely built out of Texas. And we saw a $17,000 to $18,000 MSRP price hike on that Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. As an example, $54,000 was the price in 2021 for the TRD Pro, and it jumped up to $71,000, $72,000 for the 2022 model year. That's pretty crazy. Now, when you just fast forward to 2024 here, just a couple years after that, we're looking at $76,000, $77,000 for that new Tundra TRD Pro. That's pretty crazy. So we see a jump in the price for the new Tacoma here, but it is nowhere near as substantial as what it was for the Tundra. I would still much rather have jobs for Americans. And the fourth reason would be this 2024 Toyota 4Runner will age well. It will continue to age well into the foreseeable future. Think about it. Whenever Toyota offers a brand new full redesign with a bunch of new tech and a complex motor, they're bound to run into issues. There's going to be bugs and kinks that they need to work out within the first 2 years. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it with the Toyota Tundra. We're just now kind of getting away from all those bugs and kinks within that new Tundra platform. We're going to see it with the new 4Runner. We are going to see it with the new Tacoma over there. It's inevitable. And that's not just a Toyota problem. That is every new vehicle that comes out from any vehicle manufacturer. They always have some bugs and kinks that they work out in the first 2 years. That's common knowledge. In addition to that, the whole aging well piece of this is you can confidently work on your 2024 Toyota 4Runner. You can perform your own maintenance on it with very little expertise and skills, right? This is a very simplistic engine. It's a naturally aspirated V6. That is easier to work on than a turbocharged 4-cylinder that, there's a lot more complexity to that, right? It's a little bit more complicated to work on, especially when you strap a hybridized battery pack to it. That's just out of your hands, and you're forced to take it into the dealership. And well, let's face it, Toyota wants you to do that. They want you to take it into the dealership anytime anything goes wrong with it and for any kind of maintenance because, well, what does that do? That helps them make a little bit more money, right? So again, this is something that you can work on. And the final thing I'll add for fun with the aging well is it has already aged extremely well throughout the last 14, 15 years here, right? This timeless design of this vehicle here is exceptional, and very few vehicles can do that. Will that new generation 4Runner do that? Perhaps, we just don't know yet. All right, now for the fifth and final reason here. I've kind of hinted at it throughout the video, but I do think it's very important for me to foot stomp it here at the end because I do truly believe that this will come to fruition. I'm confident. Watch this video 2 years from now and you'll look back and say, holy cow, he was right, because I am confident that history repeats itself, guys. So look back at the 2014 FJ Cruiser. 2014 FJ Cruiser was the last year that they offered the FJ Cruiser within the US. If you were to buy a 2014 FJ Cruiser today with less than 100,000 miles on it, you're going to be spending dang near brand new MSRP price for it. Back how much it cost back in 2014. They're all $30,000, $40,000, sometimes $50,000 if the miles are low. So it's like the forbidden fruit thing. When people can no longer get it, they want it even more. So all the more reason to buy the last of the 4Runner here. In addition to that, look at the Toyota Tundra. What did we see with that Tundra? Back in 2021, they did away with a 5.7 liter V8, a very simplistic, borderline archaic platform. I own one now and I love it. But if you were to buy a low mile 2021 Tundra TRD Pro right now, a low mile, maybe less than 30,000 miles, you're spending more than what the brand new MSRP was. I just spent $58,000 for mine. It was $54,000 back in 2021. 3 years later, I spent $4 grand more for it, and that's not uncommon. And honestly, I think I would have spent more if I'm being honest with you. So, and I know I could sell it in a heartbeat too. Let me make that clear too. I could sell it in a heartbeat. So many people have reached out to me because people miss the simplicity. They miss the reliability, the unmatched peace of mind, right? I know it beat a dead horse in this video, but we're going to see that. I guarantee it with this 4Runner here, guys. We're gonna go to that new 4-cylinder turbocharged hybridized platform, and they're gonna quickly miss being able to work on their very simplistic V6 here, naturally aspirated platform. So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, truly is a driving reason why I am confident in saying that you will be able to buy a brand new 2024 Toyota 4Runner, spend $50,000 for this particular example, and then 2 years from now, assuming you didn't put a crud ton of miles on it, you're going to be able to sell it for $50,000 or right about that, right? You're going to be very close to what you spent for it. All that to say, you're not going to lose a whole lot on it. So why not, right? They're going to hike up the price on the new one. Again, making this one a little bit more desirable and allowing you to maximize your resale value down the road. And let's not forget the 200 series Land Cruiser. Remember back in 2021, Toyota got rid of the Land Cruiser nameplate within the US? That following year, the values of those Land Cruisers skyrocketed, right? Obviously the pandemic was a piece of the equation there, but values skyrocketed. And even to this day, if you're to buy a used 2021 Land Cruiser, you're spending more than what the original MSRP was back then, assuming the mileage isn't super high on it. Again, we're gonna see that with the 4Runner. Those right there, ladies and gentlemen, are my 5 reasons why I truly believe if you have an opportunity to get a new 2024 4Runner while you still can, you will not regret it. Mark my words, check this video out in a few years. So I'm confident in saying that that new 6th generation 4Runner is going to look incredible and it's gonna sell like a hotcake, I'm sure of it, right? It's gonna bring on a whole new generation of buyers, people that maybe have historically not have been Toyota enthusiasts. True Toyota enthusiasts, they want this. They want affordability and they want reliability, and those two lend itself nicely to resale value. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is your last opportunity to buy that tried, true, and tested platform here. This is bulletproof and you will not regret buying it. I'm confident in saying that. So we'll wrap up the video there, guys. As always, I do sincerely appreciate you taking the time to tune into my videos. Obviously, I'm not getting any handouts from Toyota, and I'm gonna shoot you straight. I'm gonna continue to shoot you straight. I'm not getting invited to Toyota events because I shoot you guys straight and I give you my honest opinion. I don't sugarcoat things. So if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a lot, and you know that you can get my true honest opinion on things without any kind of sugarcoating. Appreciate you watching as always. Till next time.